Hi guys, in this video I'm going to take a roll of FP4. Now, I had to test the camera because there was a fault on it which I needed to fix, which I did fix. So I've got half a roll left that I've managed. I cut the film out the back of the camera. So I was looking at the development times, and this can be push processed to 800 ASA. So I'm going to push process this to 800 ASA. So I'm going to go out and take some photographs, and I'll bring you along with me, and then we'll process it later on to see what sort of results we can get at 800 ASA. So this is going to go in the Praktica, and it's got the Helios 44-2 lens on it, the 58mm f2 lens. So we'll give it a go with this, see what happens. It'll be interesting to see how grainy the shots are and what they're going to come out like. I'm going to actually process the film in rodinal. I don't know what the dilution is yet, but I know it takes about 22 minutes. So I'll show you a tiny bit of that process, but I won't show you the whole thing. And it's just an interesting thing for me to do because I've not actually push processed FP4. The biggest issue I've got when you're running 800 ASA and you're trying to shoot in a very sunny day is I'm running at about 1,000th of a second for each of the shots at about f8. And it's proving problematic. I'm not going to be able to show you any of me taking the shots, but I can show you the locations. And I live in a small market town. We've got a lovely river. I've probably seen it before, and I'm just taking shots walking down by the river. Let's see if I can turn around the camera so you can see. 1 second. There we go. So it just flips around, and that's the shot I'm going to be taking now. Because it's the 58mm lens, it's going to be quite a tight crop. It's not anywhere near as wide as you're seeing on the actual camera. I'm also wondering what the contrast is going to be like when I do this film, because it's running at 800 ASA and it's a 125 speed film, but I'm going to develop the film in rodinal, and I've been finding I'm getting high contrast results with rodinal. So will it be high contrast and really grainy? Will it be low contrast and not as grainy as I thought it was? It's going to be real fun to do. But I'm going to take a few more shots as I go, and I'm probably going to do some under the canopy like where I am now, because the obviously it's a lot more shady here and a lot darker. I think the cool thing with the Helios lens is the fact that the aperture ring doesn't go down in steps. It's actually like a film lens, like a feature film or camera lens, if that makes any sense. And which means, because I'm working on with the Praktica, and with the Praktica it's like an arrow, and like a little arrow that points up, a plus, a minus and a zero, and you can literally just dial in the actual aperture rather tthan doing a click stop, which is to me it makes it far more accurate. You get far more accurate exposure from it. Now whether it's going to work or not, I don't know, but I actually really love working with this lens, and it's really sharp for an old, I think it belonged to the Zenith camera originally, and it's an M42 mount. But there are loads of sunflowers in a flower bed, which would be nice to photograph as well. So I think one of the things I need to say here is that I don't use, as I call it, Photoshop or Photoshop. I want you to see the photographs as they come off the camera. I have to scan them, but I don't actually scan them anymore. I actually take photographs with my digital camera and then just literally invert the negative. So I don't own Photoshop. I use a thing called Affinity Photo, which is just as easy for me, and it does what I need it to do. So what you'll see is pretty much what comes off the camera, and that's it. I won't make any adjustments or enhancements because I don't think it's necessary. And it's not really, it doesn't really become a photograph, and it's something completely different when you've done that, to me anyway. Okay, so I'm back home with the film and I'm going to develop it now, but I've just discovered, when I looked it up, the development time for this at 800 ASA is 35 minutes, so that's going to be a bit long and laborious. So what I'll do is I'll come back to you once I've actually developed the film, so you'll just see me pull it out of the water when it's been washed. Okay, so after 35 minutes of developing, about 5 minutes of washing and then 5 minutes of fixing, it's done. And did I have a sneak peek? Yeah, I did. And did it come out? Yeah, of course it did. You know, I don't know how good things are, but you can actually see the film's developed properly. Oh, I'll see if I can just put it out so you actually see I think it's probably too difficult to see, but there are negatives there, and I'm presuming, I'm going to guess they're going to be really grainy because they are. But the film's really dark, even in the. Oh, you can actually see there's a negative there, but yeah. So I'll get this washed, dried, and then I'll do some scans. You can have a look at them. I just wanted to show you a few of the shots I took at 800 ASA. They're actually not as bad as I thought they are. I mean, obviously they're quite grainy, but just looking at the different shots and seeing the difference in the contrast in some of the images, I'll show you, and you'll see the difference between them. This was obviously, I was under the canopy, and obviously there was bright light. The sun was from over this direction, and obviously the sky was really bright here. But let's say you have a zoom in and see what they're like. Obviously you can see how desperately grainy it is, but then again, this is about the size of a wall. I mean, I've been zoomed in so much so you can see just how bad the grain is. But some of the shots come up really well. But I was actually quite surprised how well this photograph come out of the sunflowers. It was directly from behind where I was sitting. Now the bright patch over here, this is a van, a white van, and the light was reflecting directly off it, and that's why it's so blown out. But the actual contrast is nice. The you know, it is grainy, but it's not overly grainy. When I zoom in, you'll see, but it's actually not come up too bad at all. I mean, I was expecting a lot worse than this, but yeah, a real surprise. I think if I'd have probably gone in, developed in another developer, it probably wouldn't have been this. I don't know, perhaps really high contrast as the other ones, but I don't know. I mean, might actually give it another go and see what happens. But I'll just skip through a few more photographs. Now this one's lighter contrast. Again, it was just literally taken from the same position and taken in landscape. Taking the landscape rather than portrait, and look at the difference. And this was the last few shots I took. Now, I was really in quite heavy shade, but it still looks really nice. Obviously, there's a lot where shadows are. The contrast is really high, but it's still quite sharp, and it looks quite clean. So, and I think there's another one of this, and you see the sky. So yeah, it looks really sharp and clean. But when you start to zoom in, you'll see, you know, it's actually not bad. It's not bad at all. But then you look at the sky area here, you can actually see the grain in there. But for pushing a 125 ASA film to 800, it's done. I'm really surprised how well it's come up. Anyway, guys, I hope you've liked this and you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, like, comment, all the things you normally do. It'd be great to see you back on my next video.